What's going on? Welcome to the video. Today is a great video. I miss doing these interviews because I just get so excited and freaking motivated after speaking to other successful photo booth owners. So without further ado, this is the owner of Own the Moment Photo Booth, female operated photo booth rental business out in Florida. Hope you enjoy, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Let's get to it. I have a special guest on. I have Nicole from Own the Moment booth, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm so glad to get you on. Do you mind maybe introducing yourself, your company, really quick?
Yes, I am Nicole. I own the Moment booth. I started in March of this year, end of March, 27th exactly was my very first event. But yeah, I'm brand new to the biz, but I love it. I'm so passionate about this. So I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, I have some questions here, and let's just ask the first one. Why did you choose the name? What was the whole meaning behind it? Was it strategic? You know, a lot of people don't really pick business names strategically, but I was wondering, what was your reasoning behind your name?
Yeah. Can I share a little bit about my story and how I kind of got into this?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so I from South Africa. I moved to America when I was 6 years old with my family. And we kind of moved all over the place and did a lot of traveling. And then we settled ourselves in Florida, and had, many years of experience in customer service, which I attribute a lot to my success today. But anyways, early on in this year, I kind of found myself in a place where I had to start over. Kind of the big dreams that I'd preparing myself and working towards kind of all imploded. And I had to look at my life and decide what I was passionate about and what I wanted to do. I had been a stay-at-home mom and homeschooled my son, and we were traveling the country in an RV and kind of living the life, living the dream. And I had to start from the beginning and really evaluate what I was passionate about and what I loved. And my sister's a videographer. And so I moved closer to her, and she allowed me to come and help her carry her gear one day at a wedding. And I saw a photo booth at the wedding, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I love photo booths at, amusement parks and museums and stuff. And anytime I go to one, I always take a picture with my son. And so I have like a whole refrigerator full of, pictures of when he was like little and to now. And I loved the concept of like being able to capture a memory at these big special events. And so I started Googling it and kind of researching it, because initially I was like, maybe I can get into videography, but then it was like, my sister's listing the gear and how much it costs. And I'm like, there's no way I can afford $10,000+ worth of equipment, to start my video, whatever. So then I looked into photography, and the same for that. Like, it's just so expensive, gear so expensive. And I was Googling it and researching just photo booths. I'm like, maybe that's something I could do. And the salsa booth popped up. I mean, they have incredible marketing. So it was like the first thing that came up. Mm-hmm. And I loved the look of it. Like, it looks like it belongs with Apple products, right? It's like that sleek, modern presentation was just amazing. And then I looked further and saw everything that they included when you purchase. So it's, they have packages, right? So like the middle package included like the software, and then it included marketing, and included training and onboarding. So for me, if I'm deciding to start a business by myself, I knew that I needed something that was going to be kind of like all nicely put together and ready to go. And it needed to be something that wasn't big and heavy and that I could carry by myself. And so I loved that it was kind of compact, because the only other thing I'd seen was the mirror booths, which, as you know, are heavy and
they're giant.
Yeah. So they require a lot of effort to take with you. And I was like, I can't do that. It's just me. So that's kind of where it started. And I honestly did not do any more research. I probably should have, but it was one of those things where it was like, I knew that I could do it, and I believed in myself to know that I could make it successful. And I jumped. So
Love that.
go ahead.
No. I love that, sounds like you kind of just jump right into it. Obviously it's working, but we'll get into that a little later. But yeah, so you said basically own the moment is just basically about that moment of capturing that little moment where the photo's been taken, right?
Yes, exactly. Sorry, that was your question. Yeah, so that's what it was. I was brainstorming of like, okay, what would the name be? And I thought of like, okay, well, you're capturing the moment. And I'm like, well, that's taken by like 100 people, right? Like that's a very popular name. And then I thought of like, well, after your experience in a photo booth, right, you own that moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, own the moment. And so it was available on Instagram. So I grabbed it and yeah, I feel like it perfectly encapsulates the experience, right? Like whether it's digital or print, you have a moment in time you're never going to get back. And so own it.
Love it. Love it. Perfect. So next thing I want to ask you is, how long have you been in the business? I always count it from when you first get your photo booth. Some people count it from your first event. So wherever you want to start from how long you've been into the business.
Yeah, so I think I finally, because it took a really long time. I think when I placed the order to when I got it was 8 weeks, because it was right in that middle time where everything like shipping was an issue, production was an issue. And so it was super delayed. And so I didn't get it until I think the beginning of March. And then I got my first event at the end of March of this year. And it was a quinceañera, and she found me on a Facebook group, because that was like one of my first things that I did was get onto every Facebook group that I possibly could and advertise what I offered. And she found me there and hired me, and it was my first event, and it was a print event. The salsa booths aren't necessarily designed to print. They can, so you have to have a dongle and connect it and all that stuff. And so my first ever experience was with trying to make sure that this print experience was good. So it worked out so well. And after that first experience, it's like, oh my gosh, I love this. I loved being able to be a part of like such a cool party, right? Quinceañeras, Sweet 16s are insane. But to see how happy the guests were in that experience and that I was able to provide that for them, like that was just amazing.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel Sweet 16s, quinceañeras, and weddings are my favorite. Birthday parties are fun, but they're usually that's where everyone ends up drunk the fastest.
Right? Yeah, they're definitely different, but yeah.
But cool. So yeah, so what is that, like 4 months in the business?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we kind of already talked about the next question about the salsa booth, and I was going to ask you about your equipment, but you kind of already answered that, so we'll skip that. Did you even know that there's other booths other than iPad booths? Like, I'm sure you knew, right? Like there's traditional booths. My question is, why the iPad booth?
Yeah, so it's much more affordable than the DSLR booths. Like I definitely am aware that the DSLR photo booths the quality is far superior, because I mean it's a DSLR camera, it's a great quality, and that just was much more expensive. And so I knew I needed to do something right away, and a iPad photo booth seemed like the way to go. And all of the features that they offered seemed to be have more of a variety. And I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't really looked too far in depth, but to be able to do boomerangs and GIFs and video and, all of those other things seemed like really cool if I wanted to allow my business to reach more than just weddings or big, huge events and be adaptable to all other parties and stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. Yeah, I think the iPads are, in my opinion too, I always preach it's less complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm at an event, I don't have to worry about a lot of cables, DSLR, a lens being detached, the battery.
Yeah, that's so true.
So to me, it's a no-brainer. But yeah, I was curious on what your reasoning was, so that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about the main reason why I wanted to interview you. Was your Instagram account for your business is amazing.
Thanks.
It's colorful.
has you in it, the branding. So my main question about your account is, well, first of all, can you tell me about your account? Like, why did you, do you have a history in like social media, or was this just something you learned on the way?
It's definitely, so when we were doing like our traveling across the country, that's kind of when I started to be on Instagram to capture all of our memories, going to national parks, all that kind of thing. So that's when I started to play around, but it's all just been an experiment. But I think that's what social media is, right? Because it's constantly updating. So you're constantly having to keep up and experiment and try new things. So I would attribute it to just being willing to experiment and try new things and fail, but fail up and learn from your mistakes. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you get leads? Like, do you get hired from your Instagram account solely?
I do, for sure. That's my highest. That's my biggest way that I do get leads. But I think of it as a portfolio, right? I'm able to, especially with Reels now, I'm able to show my work in a very quick 7 to 10 second way of all of the highlights of what you get from when you hire me at an event. So it's a very easy sell, I think. Plus, you get this one-on-one interaction with future clients that you really can't get on an email. You know what I mean? Email is very formal. They don't really get to see who you are. And so Instagram is very much like, if you do a good job in putting your brand out there and the clients that you want, and you present that well, you're going to get them.
Interesting. So what's your like when you're making your post, like what is your goal for a post? Like what do you want to get out of that? Is it engagement, or is it just more of less you showing yourself and that you represent your business? Like what's your angle?
That's a great question. I think I use it a lot to show what I can do and what I offer. So I use it a lot for that portfolio side of it. But I definitely, who doesn't want like people to engage with your content? I do know that that's a way I can improve in what I'm doing. Is I'm not doing a lot of the like hook and right, like you have 3 seconds to hook your customer or you hook your viewer before they swipe over, or like always doing a call to action at every post. I don't always do that. That's something I can improve on. But I would say obviously like the whole point of my Instagram account and TikTok and all of that stuff is to get more clients.
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of my followers are actually other photo boothers. And then I do still, like, I feel really privileged. I do still have like a lot of past clients that still follow and still engage, which I think is the highest compliment, Now
let's move on about pricing. Do you show your pricing on your website? I know there's a big debate in the photo booth community where people don't want to do that because if their potential clients go to their website and they see the prices, they may be deterred and they may not be able to get even get to speak to the person. So pricing or no pricing shown on your website, what do you do?
Yeah, I do show my pricing, and that was very intentional. It was mostly because I suck at selling. Like that's just, in my opinion, I'm not good at selling. And in working in the customer service industry for a really long time, there was always that, and like you always had to sell your client on upgrading, sell them in getting a credit card. And it was so painful for me. I hated doing that. And then I also I thought of myself as a client, and how would I feel if I went to my website and I had to put my email in to get prices? Like I wouldn't do it. I would find someone else. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
yes.
So that's really what I wanted to do. Like I'm very aware that it means that my competition can view my prices and undercut me in some way, but I'm hopeful that the clients that I get want to work with me because of what I produce and put out there, which is hopefully something that's going to be super high quality, super fun, and something that they'll be able to remember for a lifetime.
Interesting. Yeah, I want to tell you a quick story. So yeah, I also show my pricing on my website because with iPad booths, you can, it's going to be a lot more cheaper to have that than if it's just a digital only booth, like an iPad booth versus like a DSLR booth with prints, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So I always feel that me by showing my price is going to actually help, because, you know, they might be going through other websites and see high prices or no prices. But before, I actually didn't show my prices. And what broke I don't even know what the analogy is, but what stopped me and changed my mind was I had other photo booth vendors call me and act like customers so they could get.
Yes.
And this one guy wasted 35 minutes of my time. He even was toying with me, talking about like, oh, it's a funeral. Are you okay with having your photo booth next to a casket? And I was so naive. Yeah, I was like, yeah, we've never done that, but you know, I can definitely.
Sure.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And then how we found out that it was a freaking vendor was he was also asking if I knew a DJ, because he was a DJ too, and he was trying to get DJ pricing. So then I got his phone number, sent it to a DJ I knew to give him the lead. And then he was like, yeah, I called the number, but like, I just want you to let you know the voicemail was for a photo booth company. And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I just wanted to tell, I don't even think I've told that story on my channel or to anyone, but that actually happened.
That's insane.
So your pricing, what do you charge? You know, you don't have to go into like every little upgrade, but just, you know, basic package, your digital package. Do you charge hourly? Do you do day rentals, prints?
It's definitely, I feel like I'm constantly reevaluating my pricing. But it's so dependent on where you are, how saturated your market is. So I based my pricing kind of off of my my competition. There's definitely photo boothers with the same stuff I have who are charging much higher. And then there's also some who are charging less. But I start at $350 for my 2-hour social like only. And then that doesn't include a backdrop or anything like that. And then it's $450 for 3 hours, and then $700 for 4 hours with prints. And then I have $1,000 package, and includes like glam and a hedge backdrop or some of the more exclusive things like that. But I definitely think as I get busier, my prices will reflect a little bit higher price point. But
cool. Are you usually just booked on Saturdays, or you able to get the Friday and Sunday and weekday gigs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Most of my events have been Saturdays. So I'm even looking future in my calendar. I was like, every Saturday it's gone, but I have like the Sundays and Fridays open. So I've had very few book during the week, but those are fun. I like doing those.
Those are the best. To me, that's like extra, because you know it's during the week.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, great. So, and then I was gonna ask you about software, but I already remembered that when you buy a salsa booth, 90% of the time it's the salsa app, right?
Yep.
Have you experimented with any other softwares like, you know, Luma Booth, Curator?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Do you recommend that I do look into that?
No, I mean, salsa, from what I heard, I've never used it. I personally think Luma Booth is great for anyone trying to save money. It has all of the other features that these other apps have. Mainly it's just a couple small setbacks, but I am actually switching all of our booths over to Curator, just because they have a customer service number, which is, to me, is really important. I don't know if Salsa Booth does, but there's been times I've been at an event and there's been like a bug or an issue and I haven't been able to get help because Luma Booth doesn't have it. But at Curator, there's a number you can call, and there's a bunch of other stuff that they have too. So yeah, I was just curious on your thoughts on software.
Yeah. I've really liked it so far, but I also haven't tried anything else. So
okay, so real quick, I want to talk about strategies. What are your strategies to get leads? I know you said Instagram earlier was your main one, but what do you actively do to get hired?
Yeah, so starting out, I went directly to Facebook and all of the bridal groups. So there were several in Florida. So it's like Brides of Florida, Brides of South Florida. And then I also went to all the mom groups, because if we know anything, moms plan the parties. And so that's where I went to kind of establish the party planning side. And that's where I've gotten a couple leads too. But yeah, posting very regularly on wedding Facebook groups. Because what I've noticed is that a lot of the brides stay in those groups even after they've gotten married. And so it's a way to also first anniversary, or, like, yeah, any kind of party after that, they can remember that there's a photo booth company. So those have been really great. I tried Bark. Have you tried Bark?
Yeah, I hated it.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
Such a waste of money. Big regret. I was able to get one client from it, but it just did not pan out. Like, they just expected incredibly cheap prices, or like free. It was just wild. So
Too much competition and like.
agreed.
Right. Yeah. But have you tried Yelp or Google?
Google. I do Google ads. So that's gotten me a couple leads. But the most have been Facebook, Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on Yelp, but I haven't really gotten too much into it because I don't know.
Yeah, my experience with Yelp was they have a terrible algorithm when it comes to making sure that the reviews are legit. So they take away actual reviews because they think it's spam. So you know how hard you work to get a review, and then so we have like maybe 38 reviews on it, but they've already taken away like 20 of them.
Wow.
You can call in, be like, hey, like verify, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. And not to mention too, like they're you can pay obviously, right, for Yelp ads. It works, but it's just not worth. It's like, I think we were paying maybe like $5 a lead, $8 a lead, and then half the time it's just like, oh, we're just getting quotes. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Do you spend a lot? Do you spend money on advertisement at all? You said on Google. Do you know how much you spend roughly?
Oh gosh. I should know this.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, no, I it's maybe 100 a month, maybe less. I do spend on Instagram ads. But it's mostly Google and then Instagram.
Interesting. Instagram only, not Facebook?
I did do Facebook, and I also did not get quality leads from there. But it's probably something I need to look into in the future to get more. But honestly, when I'm on Facebook and on these groups, I'm directing people to my Instagram.
I love that.
Because it's so much more, it's so much more effort to upload, because Reels for me aren't transferring onto my Facebook page. And so it's just so much easier when you have like the squares on Instagram to scroll through and have an idea of my company versus Facebook. It's just much more difficult in my opinion, but
cool.
Yeah, something I'll look forward in the future for sure.
Okay, cool. So I have about 10 more minutes with you. So I just want to make sure we get to the more important questions. So yeah, how many events do you do in a month? You'd say roughly. I know it's only been 4 months, but like you have like an average.
Yeah, right now I'm at about 4 to 5.
Okay.
I definitely want to like quadruple that. I want to do way more. But I'm hoping now my son has just started to go to school. So now I have like focused time where I'm able to really pour into the business. But yeah, I'm hoping to elevate that very soon. I have a lot of weddings coming up, like wedding season's coming up. And then I'm hoping I'm a little late to like the Christmas advertising, but I'm hoping to start advertising for Christmas parties soon, and get those on the books.
Oh, you haven't been in the business for Halloween season and Christmas?
No.
Oh.
Yes, you're right. I have to do that too.
Oh, it's so busy. I think Halloween was probably one of the busiest days of the year. I think last year we got a request to do like 10 events and we couldn't handle it.
How fun.
Yeah, and those are fun parties. The content you get from those parties.
Yes. Okay, great. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right, so now let's move on to some advice. I always want to try to pull out some information from the people I talk to help the people that want to get started. Any advice to anyone just getting started? And I love asking you this because it wasn't too long ago. So I feel like whatever you're going to say is actually going to be kind of current and up to date. So any advice? Yeah,
I think it's I've seen a lot on photo booths companies who are trying to sell their photo booths that there's this allure of like this like billboard of like, you can make this much money. And it really isn't that like, it's not like that. It's not like, okay, you buy a photo booth and then $10,000 is in your bank account. Like you really have to put in the work and be super consistent, and work hard and take every failure as an opportunity to improve and better yourself. I just saw a quote on like the myth of overnight success. Like everybody that you see that has overnight success, there's no such thing. It's all like behind the scenes background work that goes into making something successful. It's showing up on Instagram even if you don't want to, and posting that photo of yourself, or being on your stories even if you don't want to. It's really putting in the daily work to have it work out for you.
Awesome. That's a great answer. Love that. So do you have anything that you would change? Any mistakes that you made? Just going back, I don't want to say like any regrets, because obviously, you know, people are just going to say like, oh, I don't have any regrets. But like, if you can go back in time and change something that would kind of was a mistake, what would it be?
I wish I believed in myself more. You know what I mean? I wish I believed that. I think there's a lot of self-doubt that I had when I first started, or that I couldn't build it into a business that I could survive off of and make a living from and expand and grow into an actual thriving company. I wish I had that self-confidence in the beginning. Obviously, like whenever you try something new, it takes time for you to believe in it yourself sometimes. And so if anything, I wish I was a little bit more secure in who I was when I started.
I love that. Thanks for being so honest. Like, I know a lot of people wouldn't admit something like that. Yeah. So, last question. I know everyone probably was wondering. So you've been in the business for 4 months. Do you know how much roughly, how much income you have made from your photo booth rental company?
Yeah. So, made 11,000, about 11,000, up to this point. Thanks. I was nervous when you said, but like, I appreciate that, because it doesn't, you know, I can get in my head and be like, oh my God, that's nothing. You know what I mean? Compared to these people like Josh, right? Of photo booths. What's it called again?
PBI.
Yeah, PBI. Oh my gosh, millionaire, right? I'm like, oh, like my little, you know, 11K is like chump change. But, you know, I do know that I believe in the business, and I believe in what I love what I do. And when you love what you do, like there's nothing stopping you from it being successful. So
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
excited for the future.
You're already making money from, you know, even in your first year, you know, a lot of people take so much time to figure it out. I think what you're doing is great, and I think it's going to be easy for you to scale. So I'm interested in seeing, you know, following up with you in the future and seeing where you are. So
Yes, I was just thinking that would be
is
amazing.
is there anything you want to plug, anything you want to mention? Like maybe you want people to check out your Instagram or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, definitely. Follow me on the Moment Booths. I mean, something that I love to do is help other photo boothers. I get a lot of DMs of like, oh, what's this equipment? Or like, how did you do that? And I think it's so funny. Like, I think the answer that some of these people that ask, they get told no, or they get ignored. But because some responses, when I respond and like engage with them, they're like, oh, thank you so much. Like, you didn't have to share that. I'm like, I have no intention of gatekeeping anything. You know what I mean? I'm an open book. So if you ever have any questions on how to do anything, or if there's any way that I can help anybody, I'm super eager to do that. I love sharing. That's how I got here, was from asking other people how they got successful. So we're all just learning and growing, and so we can help each other.
Love that. Yeah. Also too, she's also a member, you guys, in Photo Booth Society. It's just a little
Yes.
page. So that's been nice to have that too. So thank you for your time. I know you're busy. You have plans today. So I'll let you go. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew.
All right. Take care.
You too.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys make sure to follow her on Instagram, links in the description. Join Photo Booth Society. It's a Facebook group, like I mentioned previously, where other photo booth owners are inside of that group, and you have access to people making hundreds of thousands of dollars in the photo booth business. It's always good to have a mentor or someone that you can go to for advice. So, love you. I gotta get going. Bye.